So this morning on the talk show, we talked a little bit about morals and how morals are changing and where do we get our morals from. And I spoke a little bit about how one of my friends, I've been asking a lot about what is it that you hope that your child comes out of school learning and knowing, and how you know that the schools have done a good job of teaching your child to be the most successful they can possibly be in the future. And one of my really successful friends, she's an accountant and she's brilliant and she owns a business and she is just one of the most wonderful people ever. And I said, like, her daughter's just in grade 1, and I said, what is it that you really want your daughter to know coming out of school? And she was like, honestly, I just want her to be a good person. And that brought me to hit me to my core, because whenever I go to my daughter's parent-teacher interviews, I listen to the teacher and I'm like, really, I just want to know if she's kind. Is she being kind to other people? Is she collaborating with other people? Is she helping the kid that is hurt? Or is she going to get help when somebody needs help? Is she making sure if somebody's being picked on that she stands up and says, hey, knock it off, you're picking on that kid? That is truly what I hope for my child, is that she has enough guts to stand up and do what's right, even when other people aren't. And I think that's something that if we could teach every kid to do that, we would live in such a better world. Because I've watched things go on in the world and I just shake my head. And as I learn about things we just got given books from my school about the Indian Act and what happened, and I'm going to read them this summer, and I just it hurts my heart when I read the stories and I begin to understand through their stories what actually happened. And in my mind, the stuff that happened with residential schools and truth and reconciliation, up until I started to begin to learn about it and truly understand it, I thought it happened hundreds of years ago, and I didn't understand why people were still so upset about it. And then I started to learn about it, and through their stories, I really started to understand, and I started to wake up to the fact that the government did horrible things, and these schools did horrible things to these First Nations people in Canada all the way up until 1996, I think it was, when the last residential school closed. And until you actually begin to learn and step outside the box and think hey, I just questioned for myself, why didn't somebody stand up and say, this is wrong, stop? Why did it take this long for us to truly start to have open conversations about this? Why was it hidden for so long? And I really think that's something that we need to be openly able to talk about, and that we need to encourage kids to start being able to stand up, but even to adults, and say, hey, that's wrong, stop doing that. Because until we be able to get our voice and speak our truth, we'll watch people continue, if they're bigger and scarier and maybe have more power over you, you're not going to have the strength to stand up. And I know that has happened to me many, many times in my life, where I'm too scared to stand up and say stop when somebody's doing something wrong. And I hope that we can teach the next generation to do a better job than that.